What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're tackling r// I Don't Work Here Lady. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell if you enjoy the content, of course. And with that being said, let's get straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story is from Von Kittenstein. Second time the skincare section of TJ Maxx gets me in trouble. So I love digging around the shelves at TJ Maxx. If you aren't familiar, it's an out of season and overstock store that sells expensive brands for huge discounts. Their skincare shelves are to die for. You can often find neat things, but it's super unorganized and all over the place. There aren't rows of product, mostly just random boxes and bottles on the shelves, all mixed together. Well, I go so much, I started this thing where once I look at a box and read the ingredients and stuff, I put it back in an organized way. I spent over an hour in a 4x4 foot section of this store in the past. Well, I'm doing my thing, and I admit it looked like I was organising the shelves, and the employees do wear nice clothes, but not a uniform, and this old lady comes over to me. We will call her Bev. Bev says, "Excuse me, can you help me read this small print? I can't read it without my glasses." She shoves a night mask in a tub into my hands. I think she's just asking for help. I read it to her. Bev says, "That's not what I want. Do you have anything to help with under eye?" Now it's dawned on me, she thinks I work there, but I'm awkward and I just went with it. At this point, I knew most of the products on the shelf and I helped her pick out a couple of things. I'm 28, not quite to the point of using anti-aging things, but she was much older and really looking for some heavy duty stuff. I remembered a much older and beautiful woman from my old work swearing by Estee Lauder skin stuff, so I recommended a couple of things I saw of it to her. She was very thankful, but fairly high maintenance. I probably spent a good 20 minutes with her before she said thank you and took her bundle to a different section of the store. I was running late at this point, so I gave up on the skincare, grabbed my new hairdryer off the ground where I left it to browse, and went to checkout. About 2 people behind me, Bev gets in the line and glances at me, and then does a double take with super wide eyes. Bev said, "I'm sorry, I thought you worked here earlier." I just laughed. "No, but that's okay, I spend enough time in the skincare section. I hope you like the creams we picked out." It was nothing negative or a Karen exchange, just a case of, "I don't work here, lady." And sometimes they're the best ones because they're just nice and wholesome, you know. You've done a good thing for someone and they really appreciated it. However, you should be paid to be working there. You're literally reorganizing their shelves for them. What are you doing with your life? Bless you though. Our next story is from Malk Shook. "I don't care if you don't work here. Find me that soy sauce." This is my first post. Please be gentle. So I was at a convenience shop where I lived, called One Stop, buying some milk, wearing a black polo top and black jeans, as I'd just come back from a work trial. I didn't get the job, sadly. The shop had rearranged all the shelves, so it took a while for me to find the freezer section. Before I found it, a shortish man who looked about in his 50s came over to me slurring his words, so I thought he was drunk and talking to himself, so I ignored him. He shouted, "Oi, you listening?" So I turned back to him, not wanting to be rude, and said, "Pardon?" I didn't understand him again, so I just kind of laughed nervously and started walking away, or at least tried to. This seemed to have pissed him off. Gonna call him DG, drunk guy. DG said, "Where the fuck you going?" "I'm just finding the milk." "Why the fuck you looking for milk? I asked for soy sauce." It took me a while to decipher that, but I eventually got it. "I don't know where that is," I said awkwardly. I didn't really know what to do in the situation. I'm really bad with confrontations. "Ask somebody for help?" "What the fuck do you think I'm doing? Get it for me." I said, "I don't work here," after realising my appearance made me seem like an employee. He said, "I don't fucking care, just get it." At this point he was slurring so much that it was impossible to understand, but he was shouting, so I assume he was swearing a little more. I asked him to leave me alone, and that's when he lunged for me. Now, me being socially awkward and just wanting to go home, I backed away immediately. One of the shop employees eventually came over and told him to leave after seeing him try to grab me. Apparently this wasn't the first time he'd come into the shop drunken and screaming at people. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I bought the milk and walked super fast home, hoping he didn't follow me. Wow, if that guy's in there often, he's obviously got some sort of major drinking issue to be turning up at a supermarket pissed up. I mean, come on. Should give him a little side slap just to teach him a lesson. To be fair, if he's that drunk, he ain't gonna do much. But why the soy sauce? What was he doing with his soy sauce? Being that drunk, I mean, you're gonna cook nothing in that state, surely. Our next story is from Randomo Panda. "How long have you worked here, dear?" I've loved reading all your stories, so I decided to share my personal story that fortunately happens to be sweeter than most here. On mobile, so I apologise for any format problems. The year was 2011 and I was working at a Chick-fil-A in my hometown. One day, I wanted to look for a particular game at Gamestop before my evening shift. So I put on the maroon polo and slacks combo and left my house early. It was a Saturday and fairly busy as I tore through the used section for my RPG choice. However, not finding what I wanted, I wound up just stepping back and people watched for a while to kill the time. Enter old lady, maybe about 60 years old. She walked straight through the Wii section with a piece of paper in her hand, but in less than a minute seemed to grow concerned as she looked at the paper, then the shelves, and back to the paper. A quick glance around revealed that both workers in view were busy, so I stepped forward to offer my help. Stepping just inside the edge of her vision, I said, "Hello, can I help you, ma'am?" OL flinches for a moment before recovering. "Oh yes, I can't seem to figure out which ones I should get." It turned out she was confused by the different Just Dance games that were available, and I was happy to inform her that the only true difference was the selection of songs available. She picked the newest game, because why not, and asked if I had any suggestions for games to give to then 8-year-old, to which I'm fairly certain I pointed to the Mario Galaxy games. We chatted for a minute about her family, OL smiling she was through the minor ordeal, as she turned to the register and said, "Thank you for helping me, so how long have you worked here, dear?" I tilted my head in confusion before recalling that I was wearing what could be seen as work casual clothes. "I don't work here, ma'am." I point to the CFA logo on my sleeve to emphasise my point. "Oh, I'm sorry I took up your time. Thank you again." She gave me that shoulder squeeze that only sweet old ladies can before placing herself in line. I didn't get what I wanted, but I wound up getting what I need, a pleasant moment to get me through yet another monotonous shift of fast food fun. Thanks for reading. And when old people give you that shoulder squeeze, it's just epic, isn't it? When they show you that they appreciate your time that you give them, just gives you that warm little feeling. I love it. Our next story is from Mind Your Manners 500. Lady got pissed I didn't help her and spills my coffee all over me. So this was like 2 years ago. I was in the grocery in the water aisle picking up a bottle of soda for a party later when I noticed an old man struggling with a gallon of water. I offered to help and put the water jug into his cart. I asked if he needed help lifting it when he got it to his car, but declined and said his son and his wife were in another aisle. He thanked me and left, so I went back to the soda deciding which one to get. Once my back is turned, I hear it, those dreaded words you never want to hear, when you just want to pick up one thing and leave. "Excuse me." I turn around and I see, typical Karen, fake tan skin, obnoxiously large sunglasses, wearing a neon pink 2 sizes too small t-shirt, jeans short shorts, and flip-flops. I say yes. Karen says, "Now you're finally done with that old man, you can pick up this water," pointing at the 36 bottle package of water, and carry it to the front with me. Her cart was packed full of different foods, the bottom of it also had stuff on it. I said, "I'm sorry, but I don't work here, but I can get an employee to help." I was wearing a plain t-shirt and shorts, nothing that indicated I worked there. She looks me over. "I don't care if it's your day off or whatever, you will lift that water and you will come with me to the front." I said, "No, I won't. If that's the attitude you're going to have when asking for help, you can do it yourself." I turned around, grabbed a Mountain Dew and walked away. Karen shouts, "Arsehole!" she screamed at full volume. I ignored her and kept walking. I was about to head to the checkout when I saw they had a Buckstar next to it. I ordered an iced coffee without lid or a straw because I wanted to try and save the environment. Lol. I get to the self-service and just wait in line. When it's my turn to scan, I hear a familiar voice right behind me. "That's him!" I turn around and I see her again with a confused manager in tow. "This is the one that refused to help me." Confused manager points to me. "Him?" Karen says, "Yes," she said with glee. "That's him." The confused manager, "Mum, he doesn't work." Karen interrupts him. "Yes, he does," her every word dropping with venom. "Oh, look, he's drinking coffee instead of helping me." I just glared at her and said nothing. "Put down that coffee and help me with my groceries." She slapped the coffee out of my hand, which caused it to spill all over me before it hit the floor. I say, "The fuck?" The manager, becoming less confused, and turns to me. "Sir, do you want me to call the police?" I'm wiping my shirt. "No, I just want her gone. Now." Resolute manager, "You heard him, ma'am." Karen stumbling. But... You have 2 options. You can either leave willingly or I'll call the police and they'll drag you out in handcuffs. Karen turns and spits at me. "Arsehole." She storms right out the front door with none of her stuff. I cleaned up on the bathroom and they gave me 2 bottles of soda for free. The sad part of all this was I would have helped her if she just minded her manners. Oh god. Even after proving that you don't work here, she's still bloody rude and spits at you. I mean, there's just no help for some people, is there? And next story is from the Clantivist. Lady calls me a liar when I tell her I don't work here, since I put things back where they belong. Man, can't people just mind their own damn business? Well, for starters, I was wearing an all-black outfit, and the staff outfit for that particular grocery store was red and white, so there's really no way to confuse me for being an employee. But anyways, I was a student at that time and didn't have a lot of money to spare, but I still love snacks. So every time I went to buy some, I spent quite a while deciding on which options I would go for. This time I decided to go for some bags of nachos with dip. So I took them and carried them towards the register, but on my way there, I saw another aisle that had a lot of different sugary snacks on sale, and of course, being able to save money, I decided to put back the nachos and buy more snacks for the same price. As I walked back into the salty snacks aisle, I looked through it to find nachos I chose before, so I could put them back where I found them. I'm just not the type to put things back where they don't belong. But then I start contemplating again. I initially came for nachos, but the gummies are less expensive, so I'm standing there and evaluating my options. Yes, I am that serious about snacks. Then this lady walks up to me and asks where she can find something or whatever. I didn't really hear her because I was listening to music, and I thought she was maybe talking to someone else in the aisle, because why would she talk to a 6-foot goth dressed teen with big ass headphones over her ears? When suddenly she grabbed my arm and shook me a little to get my attention. She startled me, so I yanked off my headphones from my head and said, "What?" Well, not in the most polite way, but it was still because she startled me. She then asked me why I ignored her. I was confused because I didn't know why I should be obliged to talk to her. I said, "Sorry, I couldn't hear you," and gestured towards the headphones that were now in my hands, still being polite because I didn't know what she was going to ask me. She said, "You should not be listening to music while you're working," in the most disgusted, snobbish voice. Me, a little confused and already annoyed. Well, good thing I'm not working. With that, I proceeded to put my headphones back on, and she grabbed my wrist and dragged it away from my head. She said, "How dare you ignore me?" To which I said, "I'm not obligated to listen or talk to you. Now don't touch me again." Mind you, I don't like talking to strangers. It makes me nervous and annoys me. I can manage if you're polite, but dragging my arm? Oh no touchy. She said, "I'm going to tell your boss. You'll get fired for such behaviour." Me being an unemployed teen, "Lady, I don't work here. Would you leave me alone now?" "Don't lie to me. I saw you put the chips back on the shelf." Me looking visibly confused by now. After a pause. So you work here. I just saw you restock the shelves. I want to speak to your manager now." Me shaking my head in disbelief. "What, so I'm not allowed to put my groceries back on the shelf if I change my mind? I don't work here." "You wouldn't be putting it back on the shelf where it belongs if you didn't work here." "Well, not everyone is an arsehole. Unlike you, dear." Okay, I didn't say unlike you, but God, I wanted to. She said, "Go and get me your manager, you rude brat. They need to stop hiring children." I said, "Good thing they don't." With that, I took nachos back into my hands and walked off towards the register. She still started screaming after me how rude I am, that I should stop right there and listen to her. Called me a bratty child and a nosy bitch, and then dragged some by-walking employee towards her, telling the poor dude to get my manager. The dude looks at me, and then looks at her and goes, "She doesn't work here, ma'am." She stared at him in disbelief, then looked back at me standing at the register, getting ready to pay. She was fuming, but I just looked back at her, threw a peace sign, and went home with my nachos. She probably still believes I work there. And you dealt with that in the best way. Give her a little peace sign. That probably wound her up even more. She probably exploded down that aisle somewhere. Rip. The next story is from Humpty Dumpty 95. Does this even remotely look like the uniform? This happened just this morning, and I'm still shaking my head. I work as a manager of a gym. We're a franchise, and I do have shirts and a hoodie with gym logo. However, I happen to be wearing a pair of sweats with rainbows on the knees, a t-shirt, and over that, a big baggy sweater. In other words, I just look like any other person buying groceries. I was getting 10 1-gallon containers of distilled water for our hydro massage bed, so I was busy grabbing my 5th gallon when I hear someone clearing their throat. I look up. "Why are you taking all the water off the shelf? Are you guys moving things again?" An older woman looked like she smelt a rather odoriferous fart whined. "Mum, I'm purchasing these." I replied and went back to putting more water into my cart. "Stop," she screamed. This, and now I'm getting irritated. "Look, lady, I have 3 more gallons to grab. It's..." "How dare you? How dare you?" She points her finger literally in my face and then shuffled away. There was another guy in the aisle, and he kinda chuckled under his breath as he shook his head. What a nut. I of course agreed, and then started heading towards the self-checkout when I spot the old woman accompanied by the store supervisor coming back. Tell that young lady she can't be moving the shelves around. I also wanted to apologise for speaking to me rudely, otherwise I'll be taking my business elsewhere. The supervisor looks at me, then her, and visibly deflates. Mom, she doesn't work here. The old lady starts screaming at her how she's lying and how she always sees me here, while the supervisor clearly points out that I'm wearing sweats and not a uniform. Meanwhile, I'm pretty much done wringing up the waters. The supervisor just apologised to me and tells me I'm good to leave. I hear Granny start yelling again about how everyone that works at the store are liars and they move things around on purpose. Legend is, she's still screaming. Just picture some old lady wandering up and down the aisles just whinging like fuck. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed these I Don't Work Here Lady stories as much as I did. If you did, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe and that notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Much love guys.